ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ वर्स् 190 अन्योन्याध्यासमत्रापि जीवकूटस्थयोरिव ईश्वरब्रह्मणो सिद्धं कृत्वा ब्रूते सुरेश्वरः. So, as a part of this Mahavakya Vichara, this first Vidyaranya conducted Tvampada Vichara, and he dealt with both Vachyartha and the Lakshartha of this Tvampada, and after that he came to now this Tatpada Vichara. From there, for that he took a Upanishad Vakyam, and he explained also that Ishvara is composed of three things together. First is the consciousness itself plus reflection and reflecting medium, Maya. These three put together is a meaning of Tat Pada Vachyartha. And that is Ishvara. And then various attributes of Ishvara is also we discussed with the help of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. And in Mandukya Upanishad, Ishvara is presented as basically Sarveshwara, Sarvajna, and Sarvantaryami, Sarvasya Yoni, Jagat Karanam, etc. And last we saw a Sarvasya Yoni. So he explained that Jagat Karanam from verse 182 to 187. And he concluded this discussion in 187 and then made statement which created a problem. So he said this Chidabhasa, basically part of Ishvara, is responsible for arrival of this Chaitanya Prapancha, and Maya part of Ishvara is responsible for arrival of Achaitanya Prapancha. Why? Because Chidabhasa being Chaitanya causes Chaitanya Prapancha. Chidabhasa is also a appearing Chaitanya, right? It is exactly like a sun also is an illuminator, and our mirror also is an illuminator. Mirror also works as an illuminator, and sun also is an illuminator, but that's a big difference. Sun is illuminator independently, and mirror is an illuminator on account of sun. And therefore, same way, Chidabhasa also we consider right now as a Chaitanya, on account of course Chaitanya. So Chidabhasa being Chaitanya all causes Chaitanya Prapancha. Maya causes Achaitanya Prapancha. And equation fits very well. And we find also in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 13 that Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi Vikaramsha Gunamshaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. So basically this, this Achaitanya Prapancha Amshaya as is produced, is created from Maya. That the word used is the Prakriti. And so this statement created a problem. The problem is basically that Sureshwaracharya ji, elsewhere said in Vartikam, in Brihadaranyaka Vartikam, he said that this Chit or Brahman is responsible for Chaitanya Prapancha. And so it's a difference of opinion basically between Vidyaranya and Sureshwaracharya ji, but it appears like that it is a difference, but it's not. Anyway, both belong to same party, right? Advait party. But still, so if Chit is responsible or Chidabhasa is responsible. And this is very, very evident in the Shastra. Brahman is Jagat Karan. Brahman is not Jagat Karan. Ishvara is Jagat Karan. What is right? We ourselves say so many times, Brahman is Jagat Karan. So same, this is a problem. So Chit is a Jagat Karanam, Brahman is Jagat Karanam, or Chidabhasa, Ishvara is a Jagat Karanam. Well, controversy was given in 188 and 189, and we saw that 188, that quotation of that, which is a Brihadaranyaka Vartikam of Sureshwaracharya ji. And that crucial part is basically Paraha. So Paraha, that is Param Brahma, this original consciousness. Karanatam eti. So Brahman Karanatam eti. Karanatam prapnoti. So Brahman is having a status of a cause that is been told by the Sureshwaracharya in Vartikam. And there is no controversy for other part. Like Prakriti is a cause of Achaitan Prapancha, or Maya is a cause of Achaitan Prapancha, that Sureshwaracharya ji also says, and then Vidyaranya ji also says. So there is no controversy. There is an agreement between them. So there in Vartikam you must be seeing that Tamah Pradhana Kshetranam. Very clear. Tamah Pradhana Kshetranam. Kshetranam is all these bodies, etc. They are created basically from this Tamaha, means basically Maya, from this Jadamsha of the Chit. That has been told there. So Tamaha, that indicates it's the inert or Jada. So anyway, so Tamah Pradhana Kshetranam indicated, and so in Vidyaranya also says that Maya is basically cause of the whole creation. And so this was, a question only is Na Ishwarasya. So basically, Na Ishwarasya, so that our, Purvapakshi says. So basically, it has been told Paraha. So Param Brahman is a cause of this entire Jagat. And Vidyaranya ji said before Ishvara is the cause of the Jagat. So Chidabhasa is a cause of Jagat. So that definitely there is a difference. And so and then Purvapakshi raised a question. And Vidyaranya ji says, Chidabhasa alone is a Karanam, Chit cannot be the Karanam. And then he is not contradicting Sureshwaracharya ji, we have to understand it. As such, that is true. Strictly speaking, Brahman is not the cause of the creation. Brahman, which is Karan Karya Vilakshanam, definitely is not the cause, which is distinct from cause and effect. Brahman cannot be the the cause of the creation. And that has been told when Nachiketa asked a question in Kathopanishad to Yamaraja. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra asmat krita akritat. I am asking you a question, oh revered sir, I am asking you a question regarding Atma or this Brahman, which is anyatra asmat krita akritat. Kritam means karyam. Akrutam means karanam. Anyatra. So basically which is distinct from the cause and effect. So that is true. Brahman is not a cause, not an effect. And therefore Brahman cannot be the cause, literally speaking. Chidabhasa is a cause. But Sureshwaracharya ji in this particular Vartika Shloka basically does not want to make much difference between this consciousness, that is Brahman, original consciousness, and the reflected consciousness. He does not want to highlight the difference basically between them. And so this is generally done in the Shastra also, and or as well as by Acharyas also. So loosely using word Chaitanyam is to refer both. So even though they are well different, strictly speaking, they are very different, but they loosely use sometime one for the other. Why do you do this kind of a thing? They say this is not new. This is not a new thing. It's a convention actually. So let us not talk about Shastra regarding this thing. Even in a common parlance also, the reflection original are treated as one. Also, because of original alone, appears the reflection appears in the mirror. So sometimes reflection is treated as original, and original is treated as a reflection. Treated, please understand. It is treated. It is not one. It is treated, loosely used, one for the other. And one is the avatar of the other actually, and therefore they are not one. And this is like Bhagavan, appeared as he was avatar, and so Brahman appeared as a Krishna, and in chapter 4 he does same thing, even though he is just an avatar, but still he takes himself to be original. How? He says, well, I taught this entire Veda, all this, all what I have taught to you, this Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga and all this. And I taught the Veda basically to, the Vivaswan in the beginning of creation. You are an avatar, yet you have appeared right before few years. Then definitely, so he basically just an avatar, he identifies with the original and tells. Chidabhasa is the avatar of the Chit basically. Chit, right? Chidabhasa is the avataranam of the Chit because of a reflecting medium. And still, they can be used as a one. Vishnu and Krishna basically are taken as a one by Bhagavan himself. So he identifies with the original as Vishnu, and he says like that. So one Vishnu alone appeared as a Krishna, and so Chaitanya takes a Vyavaharika avataram. That's what we call avatar as. Anyway, so he is a Chidabhasa in appropriate upadi. So sometime, we treat them as the one. Now this example, perhaps you may find, that may not be, we are not comfortable with this. Okay. Now there is another example. Let's see another example. When our friends, they come home, and all friends of the school, it happened. So this is a story. So when all the friends, from the school friends, they came to the place. And in school days, when we were in a 9th standard, we visited one place in Gujarat called Nal Sarovar. So it's a lake kind of a thing, where a lot of birds come in, especially in winter. And in that, when we were in 9th standard, we visited. And then we went in a boat in that lake. And then what happened was, so several boats were there because many students. So from another boat, somebody took a picture of our boat. So definitely we also were there. And so my photo also came. So when these people came to my place, all the school friends, then I took out this photo and showed them. And I said, I am there. No one could recognize that I am there. And so therefore, then I have to show that I am here, like that. Now tell me, this statement is true? When I showed in the photo that I am here, what it indicates? Actually, my image is there, right? My image is there. I am not there. I am the one who is holding the photograph actually. My image is there. But image is taken as a original. That's how it is. Image is taken as a original. So loosely, no one question, how can you be there? You are the one who is holding the photo. How can you be there? No one question also. That shows it is common. It's a very common to take, or to basically, to loosely take this one thing as another. There is another thing also, when you want to basically see your face, then you look into the mirror and you find a black dot on your face, and then, well, so you want to remove that black dot. So what we do, we watch the reflected face and give the treatment to the original, right? Actually, what should you do? Well, if you are seeing a black dot in a reflection, then you should give a treatment to reflection only, removing the dot in the reflection. But seeing the reflected face, you give a treatment to original face, indicates reflection and original have been taken as one. Okay, and therefore basically, so this is very common. No one questions also. No one considers me a mad person that why are you removing a black dot in your original face. You should remove in the reflected face because you see the dot in a reflected face. You don't see the black dot in an original face. You can't see also. So seeing in a reflection, you do the job in original, indicates loosely both are taken as one. Or one is superimposed on another also. That way also can say. Both are mixed also, you can say, etc. So anyway, they are treated as identical. Strictly speaking, they are very different. Reflected face and original is very, very different, but they are treated as identical. So sometimes scriptures say Brahman is a Karanam, sometimes says Brahman is not Karanam. Then, well, so how do you resolve this contradiction? Well, we can say Brahman obtains in the Maya Upadhi. Well, that is the Karanam. That's a answer. But loosely has been told as Brahman as a Karanam. Several places, so many Upanishads also says. Brahma Sutra says that. This is how Brahma Sutra defines Brahman. In Brahma Sutra, there is a definition of Brahman. In the second sutra, it's same thing. First sutra is Athato Brahma Jignasa. Vyasacharya ji says Athato Brahma Jignasa. One should really inquire into Brahma Jignasa. Brahma Vichara Kartavya. One should really inquire into the nature of Brahman for one's own benefit, not for the sake of anybody, or not for any kind of doing PhD, etc. One should acquire Brahman into nature of the Brahman. Basically, Brahman happens to be Atma. So, well, there is no Brahman other than Atma. There is no Brahman. If one searches Brahman outside, he will keep on searching for lifetime, lives together. When Brahman is known as Atma, it is over. Brahman happens to be Atma. And therefore, definitely, well, then so Athato Brahma Jignasa. So, Ataha. Therefore, well, definitely if one wants to gain moksha, freedom, then one should inquire into the nature of Brahman, which is Atma. Kim Tat Brahma. What is that Brahman? Well, Janmadhyasya. Brahman is one from which the whole creation is born and sustained and resolved. So Brahman is Jagat Karanam. That's what Vyasacharya ji defined. How can Brahman be Jagat Karanam? Brahman is Karya Karana Vilakshana. Oh, very good. Very good. Brahman is Karya Karana Vilakshana. But then Upanishad basically, from where this thing is taken is Taittiriya, Bhruguvalli. That statement, Janmadhyasya Ataha of Brahma Sutra is dependent upon Taittiriya Upanishad Bhruguvalli Vakya. And there, Yatova imani bhutani jayanti yena jatani jivanti yat prayanti abhisambhishanti tad Brahma. Very clear statement. Yatova imani bhutani jayate. From where, from whom whole creation is, all the bhutas, all the jivas have come, etc. Sentient, insentient, everything came. Anyway, so this is how Brahman is defined as Jagat Karanam. And well, Brahman is not Jagat Karanam also. That's very true. Strictly speaking, Brahman is not Jagat Karanam. And Brahman is Karanam also, like Jagat Karanam also. And therefore, well, loosely they are using like that. Brahman is Karanam, etc. So Brahman obtains in a Maya Upadhi. Well, that reflection is a Karanam. Anyway, Sureshwaracharya ji also says Paraha Karanatam, basically. So, loosely we use this original consciousness for reflected consciousness. Anyway, next point is this mixing of these two, original consciousness and reflected consciousness, etc. They are of two types. It's called adhyasa actually. Because he word used by Vidyaranya Swami is anyonya adhyasa. Anyonya adhyasa. So mixing up both. Superimposing this on this and reflection on the original and original on reflection means taking as identical. Well, such kind of a mixing is of two types. So one mixing is possible because there is ignorance that there are two, right? One is a reflection, another is original. Well, that kind of ignorance is there, and therefore, well, a person may feel. So that is due to confusion, which is called as a mithya pratyaya or adhyasa, born of ignorance. That's the one. Second is, well, this mixing up is possible knowingly. Means you loosely use one for the other. That is also possible. Like my photo, I already told you that I am not in the picture. I am the one who is holding the picture. Still, well, showing the image, I say I am here. Well, definitely, knowingly I mix up. Naturally, I also know that I definitely. So knowingly I mix up. So listener also does not argue. Means everybody knows also, right? And therefore, this kind of a mixing, knowingly there is a mixing, is called gauna pratyaya. Gauna pratyaya means basically, in a secondary sense, you use that way, one for the other. An example also these are examples that we have seen. Another example is when we talk about a sunrise and sunset. Well, I know that it does not rise. Still I use that there is a sunrise, there is a sunset. So then we can understand, knowingly still I say that, means it is a gauna pratyaya. Before knowing, if I use this word, well, we call it mithya pratyaya. There is no sunrise. We have to educate him. But after knowing, still he uses that there is a sunrise, or now sun has risen, etc. Now sun is set, etc. So, well, this kind of a usage is called gauna pratyaya. So when even when we use this, earth is stationary, is also gauna pratyaya. You know very well that earth is not stationary. Sun is a stationary and earth is moving, right? But then, as though basically the sun which is stationary, that attribute of that sun, well, is superimposed upon the earth, and earth's movement is superimposed upon the sun, and we say sun is moving, etc. So this example also can be taken. In Shastra, they give a very standard example. They call Simhaha Manavakaha. See, this is a Gauni Vritti they call. Simhaha Manavakaha. So, boy is a lion. Now, a father is telling about his son that my son is a lion. Well, he is not a member of a Lions Club, but he is a real lion. He's thinking. So, basically, son is a lion. So, well, definitely, actually, it's a wrong statement. He doesn't have that mane and 4 legs and etc. And he doesn't have canine teeth, etc. Nothing. And still it is used, and the people who are there, the guests who have come, well, to whom this father is praising, so they are also listening, and no one objects also. How can you call that the son is a lion? Because, well, nobody objects, because everyone knows that in terms of a guna, they are compared. When something is compared in terms of a guna, it's called Gauni Vritti, Gauna Pratyaya. And so, Shastra also mixes up so many things we have to tell, because this is a big issue, for the Purvapakshi. So, and in our mind also sometimes we become, that kind of a doubt may come. Why sometimes they say Brahman is not a Karanam, sometimes they say Brahman is a Karanam, etc. Anyway, so Shastra mixes up, well, both original consciousness and reflected consciousness, and loosely say in one place like that Brahman is a Jagat Karanam. And in other place says Brahman is not Jagat Karanam. Without difference they use this. Anyway, so same thing is done by Sureshwaracharya in this shloka. But an ignorant person, well, definitely mixes up. It is a mithya pratyaya. So Vidyaranya says, Anyonya adhyasam atrapi. So mixing up, well, or loose usage of this Brahman and this Chidabhasa, Maya Pratibindita Chaitanya or Ishvara is like what? Jiva Kutasthayo Eva. So like Vyashti Chidabhasa and Kutastha. Jiva is Brahman. And Jiva goes from one body, he leaves the one body and goes to another body. From one loka to other loka. And Jiva is Brahman also? Yeah, Jiva is Brahman. And Jiva goes also from one place to other place. What are you talking? What are you talking? So, if you say, what are you talking? Definitely there is a confusion. Okay? So, Jiva is Brahman, then Jiva is taken as a Kutastha. Understand that. Jiva is taken as a Kutastha. And same when you say Jiva is going from one place to other, one loka to other, Jiva is taken as a Chidabhasa. Right? So, Jiva Kutasthayo Iva, like Vyashti Chidabhasa and Kutastha, are loosely used, loose usage is there. So, individual, that reflection, Chidabhasa and this Kutastha are mixed up. Same way in a Vyashti level it happens, and a Samashti level also it can happen. So, in a macro Chidabhasa, that is Maya Pratibindita Chaitanyam, Ishvara, and consciousness, Brahman, well, they are as though mixed up by Sureshwaracharya. So, Anyonya Adhyasam Atrapi Siddham Krutva, by mixing up, by joining them, Sureshwaraha Brute. So, Sureshwaracharya says this, loosely uses this. So, strictly speaking, Brahman is not the Karanam. Only Brahman, along with the Maya, of course, and getting reflected in, is a Karanam. So, Anyonya Adhyasam Krutva is equal to Mithya Pratyaya. So that is, that is Gauna Pratyaya. I'm sorry, because Sureshwaracharya does this, so knowingly, and therefore it is Gauna Pratyaya. But if it is ignorant and then does a Anyonya Adhyasa, that's a Mithya Pratyaya. Mithya Pratyaya means Adhyasa. So, Sureshwaracharya uses this knowingly, and therefore this Adhyasa is not a Mithya Pratyaya, Gauna Pratyaya. So, ignorant people treat Chit and Chidabhasa as one. That's what the problem is actually. Yeah, that is the problem. I consider myself as a Jiva, that is the problem. So, I don't, even though there is a consciousness, but I have mixed up. Even though Sakshi is present, Kutastha is present, and that is my real nature, but still I mix up on account of ignorance of my own nature. And therefore, ignorant people do Anyonya Dhyasa, means that is a problem. Whereas Sureshwaracharya's mixing up is a deliberate one. And that he further explains in 191. Satyam jnanam anantam yat brahma tasmat samutthitāh tam vāya agni jalor vyoshad vyat. Actually, kham vayu agni jala, then urvi, actually urvi is there, and then aushadhi, and annadeha iti shrutihi, etc. So these are the five things which has been mentioned here. I find a little difficulty even in chanting that, but I am making it separate for you. So here Vidyaranya says, well, mixing up is of the Sureshwaracharya of two is very, very deliberate. And not only Sureshwaracharya does this, Veda also does this. That's what he wants to convey now. So he says in Brahmanand Valli, there is a statement called Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, and Brahman is, Satyam, which is existence, and which is consciousness, which is limitless. So Brahman is consciousness, which is limitless existence, we can say. And so Brahman is defined like this, and such a Brahman cannot be the Karanam also, and because Karanam means definitely there is an effect of time. Yeah, because when you say Karanam, means it's a cause of something. So, definitely the cause always is before the effect. We have to say that when you want to differentiate between cause and effect, the difference is in terms of time. Effect is always later, cause is always before. So definitely later and before etc. or after before etc. definitely is indicated by time. And therefore the Brahman which is Satyam, which is not subject to time, has been shown is subject to time by giving a causal status. And therefore, when you say Brahman, from Brahman well whole creation comes, then definitely Brahman is taken as which is subject to the time. And so Karanam is always associated with the Kalam. Karyam, of course, also is associated with the Kalam, time. Karyam comes later. Cause is always. That's how Nayayika defines. Nayayika defines the cause like this: just before the effect, which is present, which is available, is a cause. Just before the effect. That's how they define. So Karya Niyata Purvavartitram Karanam. That's Karanasya Lakshanam. That's how they say. Karya Niyata Purvavarti. Karya, which is Niyatam, which is definitely Purvavarti, Purvavartamanam. So, which is definitely before the horizon of the effect, which is present, which is available, is Karana. So, just before the cause, the pot comes out, what is there? Definitely clay alone is there, and therefore clay is a cause. But so when you say before, after all this thing, you have brought time. And therefore, definitely, so Karanam is associated with the time, Karyam also is associated with the time, and therefore, the Brahman which is Satyam means Satyam means Kalatitam, which is beyond time, and therefore cannot be the Karanam. Then still it has been shown there, right? Very well. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Tasmad va Tasmad Atmanaha Akasha Sambhutah. And therefore, definitely in this statement, Brahman has been shown as a Karanam, and that Brahman cannot be basically Karanam also. Then how can it be both? So, Upanishad uses this word. Well, we can understand. To resolve this contradiction, we have only one way to say that this Satyam Brahma is original consciousness, that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, and Tasmad va etc. Well, we have to add, we have to understand rather, that this Brahman with Maya alone, or Maya Pratibhibhita Brahma, basically Ishvara, is a cause of the entire thing. So which is, and Maya, why you have suddenly brought Maya? Maya is already there, it's inseparable. Maya is inseparably associated with Brahman. That is non-separate from Brahman. That becomes the Jagat Karana. But loosely sometimes sometimes they don't say Maya, they may not mention Maya. Then we have to understand. Tasmat is equal to Brahmanaha. That we have to understand. So Upanishad loses basically this kind of a expression. So that's what it says here. Yat satyam jnanam anantam brahma tasmat, from that samuttita, originated what? Kham, vayu, agni, jala, urvi, aushadi, anna, deha, etc. So kham, akasha, vayu, agni, jalam, urvi. Urvi means basically, our prithvi. And aushadi, because there it is same order is there. Prithivyaha oshadayaha, oshadibhyaha annam. And therefore, oshadibhyaha annam. And so this annam is born of oshadi. And then annat purusha, so deheha. So all this same order has been shown here. And so iti shrutihi vadati. Vadati we have to supply. So this from that Brahman, all these things have originated. 5 elements and ultimately the body, etc. They all are created, originated from that. So here definitely in this statement, in this section basically, there is a mixing up of original consciousness and this reflected consciousness. Because Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma indicates definitely Brahman, Param Brahma. Tasmad Brahmanaha Akasha Sambhutaha. There it has been shown as a cause. So, cause cannot be the Param Brahma, cannot be the cause, because any cause is subject to time. And therefore, here we have to understand Chidabhasa only, with the Maya only it becomes a cause, but loosely used. Tasmat indicates it is a loosely used. That Brahman from which the Akash etc. is born. So This kind of statements are there in Veda also. Not just Sureshwaracharya uses loosely, Veda also uses loosely. 192. आपातदृष्टितस्तत्र ब्रह्मणो भाति हेतुता हेतोश्च सत्यता तस्माद् अन्योन्याध्यास इष्यते. Apatadrishtita. So if you take these two Shruti statements superficially, well, then two confusions can arise. Brahman is a Paramarthik Satyam from one statement, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, and from Brahman, Jagat etc. comes, Akasha Vayu etc. comes. Well, that's another statement. Brahman is Jagat Karanam. Brahman is Paramarthik Satyam, which is not a cause, which is not an effect, Karya Karana Vilakshanam. And the second statement is Brahman is shown as a Jagat Karanam. So if you join them, Satyam Brahma is Jagat Karanam like that, well, Satyatvam and Karanatvam, well, we have equated. And so it's identical. So truth is, what is Satyam is not a cause. What is Satyam is not a cause. So Satyatvam and Karanatvam cannot go together, but we have equated here. From the two statements we can understand. So these two things, well, cannot exist together. What is Paramarthik Satyam cannot be Karanam, because it is Deshakala Atitam. And what is Karanam cannot be Paramarthik Satyam. So, and because Karanam has a Sambandha with Deshakala, etc., Asti Jayate, Vardate, etc., all then also can come. Anyway, so basically Brahmanaha Hetuta Bhati. So Brahman is cause Tatra. Tatra means in that Shruti, Taittiriya Shruti. Well, so that causes, that is this kind of a statement is there on account of the looseness of the usage between Brahman, which is between original consciousness and Chidabhasa, Ishvara, or Brahman associated with the Maya, basically. Brahman get reflected in the Maya. So that Chidabhasa is a cause, but still loosely used as a same Brahman which is not Jagat Karanam, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, etc. So Hetoho Satyata, that Karanam cannot be basically, a Paramarthik Satyam. But we raise the level of basically Karanam up to the Paramarthik Satyam, which it really does not deserve. This is called Anyonyadhyasa. So when we say this is snake, so when you say that, we are definitely committing two mistakes. This refers to Vyavarika Satyam, connecting with the Pratibhasik Satyam. When you say this is, that's a Vyavarika Satyam. And in fact, you are referring to rope actually. So this is, which is Vyavarika Satyam, and then you say it is snake. So you are connected that Vyavarika Satyam to Pratibhasik Satyam. So as though snake has got a status of a Vyavarika Satyam. So this is how it is. So Karanam, well, basically, or Chidabhasa, which is Vyavarika Satyam, its status has been raised to the Paramarthik Satyam, well, where the Brahman is actually not a Jagat Karanam. So this is how we say that this is possible. So Apata Drishtitaha Tatta Brahmanaha Hetuta Bhati. So this is, if you take this, these two statements, well, superficially, then you find such contradiction, but it is due to Anyonyadhyasa knowingly. Gauna Drishti has been used. Anyway, so this is, and we will stop here because there is a puja in the temple, so I will have to go. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.